Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sharon Go Show. And we are going live again today. So now I try to do live with my guests like every Thursday at 3 p.m. Thank you so much for being here. It's such a beautiful day here in California, but the most beautiful is our guest today. I'm so excited to have our guest and Kelsey Weaver. Kelsey is certified functional health practitioner who specializes in gut health, hormonal imbalances, resistant weight loss, and disease prevention. She's a member of the American Association for Drugless Practitioners, believing that lifestyle and nutrition interventions are the most effective way to promote health and healing throughout the entire body. I cannot agree with you more about it. I'm totally with you. And thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. As you can see, it's amazing outside up here in Portland, Oregon. So we're in the same time zone, and it's just West Coast has great weather.
It's so beautiful. I'm so excited to have our talk here. Again, thank you so much for being here. Just before we start, we are actually live on my Facebook group. I just want to have this opportunity to welcome people who actually tune in today for this topic. And thank you so much again for your support. So like we are talking about, detoxing. It's such an important subject because, nowadays our toxic burden is heavier than ever, right? So like the challenges we face today is that the volume of toxic burden, like it's greater than ever before. And I have a statistic, like according to the environmental working group, studies show that the average newborn baby has, you guess, like how many chemicals? It has like 287 chemicals in their umbilical cord blood already. So these are the little humans who have picked up like toxic burden without actually physically living in the world yet. So if this is the case, just imagine we as adults, like how many chemicals we have been exposed throughout our lifetime, and this bioaccumulating chemicals, and imagine how this will affect our long-term health, right?
Absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head, and I couldn't have said it better myself, because we come into the world with a toxic load, and we continue to contribute to that toxic load, either because, maybe we're ignorant to it, or because we don't have the means or the understanding how to lighten that load and that burden. And that is just so hard as a practitioner, and that's why education is so incredibly important, is getting the information out there and not being confused by all the shiny things on Instagram or Facebook that says do this or this or this, when it's really very simple.
Yeah, absolutely. So why do you think a cleanse or detox works, and what symptoms would you experience what symptoms that people experience that they know, oh, now I need to cleanse?
Mm-hmm. So I truly believe that a cleanse, if you can do a cleanse, depending on the person, depending on the environment and the behaviors, if you can do a cleanse anywhere from 3 to 6 months, is beautiful. I personally love Chinese medicine and how it goes into seasons, and how each season is affected with different organs, and the liver, and the springtime, and really when to focus on different organs within the body. And I truly believe that there is so much truth to that. So working with a cleanse according to a season is huge because of what's around us. But if we can cleanse anywhere from 3 to 6 months, that's huge. And that's really cleansing in different areas. The huge factors that are going to be involved that contribute to someone really needing a cleanse are going to be environmental, lifestyle, everyday stressors, health status, nutrition, and so many other things, but those are kind of the big ones. And when I mean that, we already talked about environmental. So we think that the air is beautiful and clean, and it's just not. There's pollutions and toxins and pesticides and herbicides and allergies that we have that are constantly putting a burden on our bodies. And then as far as lifestyle, you know, if it's alcohol or smoking or activity, how much activity, how little activity, the right kind of activity, those are all really important. Sleep irregularities, relationships and community, how you feel within yourself and your own self-esteem. And not to mention, there's a lot that are kind of the antecedents to our lives and how we were brought into this world, what traumas we've gone through as a human, and what brings us to where we are today. So it's a lot of it too. And how does that create an emotional response to then a hormonal response? And then of course we go into everyday stressors like personal stress, financial stress, work stress, relationship stress, even workout stress, which I really want to kind of hone in on, because I believe that there are a lot of us out there, particularly women, particularly busy women, particularly really busy women, that deal with their stress with over exercising or high intensity workouts when they already live a highly stressful life. What we really need is a calming exercise routine. And I know that nobody wants to hear that, but that's the truth.
It should be a balance, right? It should be a balance, not like
Yep, absolutely. It's interesting. I was just talking to someone today about how they have all of their life, they've had a type A personality. I do this and I get this done, and I am this and this and this and this, and mom and wife and entrepreneur and businesswoman and CEO. I understand. Yet we're doing exercises like CrossFit, which I love CrossFit, so don't get me wrong, but we're doing high intensity interval exercises like CrossFit and things like that are also creating a stressor on the body. Yet when does our body get to calm and heal? We are either in a healing state or we are in a stressful state. So we have to really choose which one we want to go. And that's when having that point to detox and cleanse is really important. Health status is important. What's going on with your health? What medications are you on? Do we have a suppressed immune system? Do you get colds often? Do you get flus often? You know, gut health is important. Nutrition is important. A lot of things that we can kind of talk about a little bit more today, but I want to make sure I touch on the symptoms, obviously. And I'm not gonna lie, Sharon, there is a lot of symptoms.
And actually, we are actually talking about two different things. We're talking about the cleansing of physically, like our body, right? Because we talked about all the chemicals that when we exposed to all the chemicals like we consume along with the food, right? And also the stress that you were talking about, like all the stressors that from our work, from all the things, activities, we actually get so physically involved every day. But the other part is also detoxing our mind, you know, because our mind and body, they are so perfectly interacted with each other. So either of it goes wrong, it affects our whole health, right? So I think that part is also very important, is talking about detoxing our mind.
I think it's important because I think that what we need to understand about our bodies, and we can kind of put it in very simple terms, is when we have a feeling or we experience an emotion, there is a chemical reaction in the body.
Yeah, exactly. This is huge. Like we lots of times we just think about these are just the thoughts, or these are just the ideas. It's on our mind, or it's but actually it creates, like you said, create a chemical reaction, you know, and really can be harmful physically.
Right. And that chemical reaction, again, and I love to repeat this because I think it's something that we can latch onto, is that reaction and that feeling creating a sense of healing or creating a sense of stress? You are either in a parasympathetic state of healing or you are in a sympathetic state of stress. And there is no healing that can be done over here. And there's no middle ground. There's just no middle ground. You're either here or here. And so where we are with our emotions and our feelings and the decisions that we make, you know, we've got to detox everything because everything plays a role.
Yeah. Absolutely. So are there like some non-negotiables that we should be paying attention to with our health? And if so, what are they? Like some things that we really need to pay attention to?
Yeah, so there's three non-negotiables in my training, in my practice. I
Mhm.
have three non-negotiables, and those three non-negotiables are: I have to get someone to poop every day, to sleep, and to have proper blood sugar balance.
Mm.
So those three things need to happen in order for us to have a successful and optimal health.
Mhm.
And knowing that there's something that's off with those non-negotiables, I'll kind of go back to those symptoms, but we've got fatigue, we've got an energy drop during the day, sudden weight gain or even weight loss can be a huge sign. Weight loss resistance, if we're trying to lose weight and it's not happening, that's a
Mhm.
huge indicator that we are in a stressed state, and a cleanse and a detox is probably important.
Mhm.
Little to no morning appetite, which is huge. A lot of people skip meals. That's a big no-no.
Mhm.
Never being hungry or always being hungry. Then
Yeah.
we have food cravings. We have irregular elimination, like I was talking about. We've got to be pooping every day. Loose stools or diarrhea are going to be a huge symptom.
Mhm.
Food and chemical sensitivities, low sex drive, fibroids, ovarian cysts, endometriosis, constipation, breast tenderness, irregular periods, suppressed immune system, anxiety, skin issues. All of these things are going to show us that we probably have a toxic load that needs to be addressed.
Mhm. Yeah.
So if we can work with those non-negotiables and think to ourselves, well, Sharon, am I eating appropriately to have a good blood sugar balance? How do I know if I have a good blood sugar balance? I
Mhm.
have stable energy all day. I
Mhm.
wake up in the morning like a daisy instead of dragging for an hour. That's when I know I have a good blood sugar balance. Are
Yeah.
you pooping every day? And then, of course, got to get some sleep.
Yeah, so I understand that these areas are also very important. They are the indicators if our body is really balanced and is in good shape. Because a lot of times we really stress ourselves out. You were mentioning earlier about the people just do CrossFit, Stairmaster for 1 hour every day. They just put so much stress on themselves. And for eating one, some people just go with like fasting, like only 1 meal a day, like really extreme, or only like not eating for some days, like just doing it without knowing the harms that this kind of actions actually cause to our body. So it's kind of messes up the whole system, right? I know these areas are all very important, but I'm just we just spent a little time talking about the sleep. So what, because I know that is a big challenge for lots of people nowadays. Sleep become like a luxury thing, not as something like in old days, like many years, like thousands of years ago, it was just such a natural thing. But now it becomes a luxury because lots of people cannot sleep or have very bad quality of sleep. So what are the things that you think people should pay attention to in terms of detoxing when they facing sleep challenges?
Yeah. Sleep is very challenging for a lot of us because of the hormonal imbalances that we have within the body. And again, that's going to go back to the toxic load. So, right now, a lot of us know about the hormone cortisol, and cortisol is an incredibly important hormone. It's not a hormone that we should be afraid of, it's a hormone that we should embrace. And knowing that when you wake up in the morning, your cortisol should be at the highest point. That is your get up and go hormone. That is the attention, I need to go and do something hormone.
Mm-hmm.
So if that hormone is high in the morning, we get to get up and we're excited. But what's happening is, and then it kind of decreases during the day. And then when you go to sleep, you want your cortisol to be at its lowest point because you don't want to get up and go when it's 10 o'clock at night. You want to go to sleep. And conversely, you have another hormone, you have two other hormones, the adenosine, and then you have your melatonin. And those are going to start to increase as the day goes on, making you tired. So you have this kind of opposite relationship that's happening, and it looks like this big wide balance of things that are going on with hormones, and you really want to catch the right time to fall asleep. Now, the problem is if those hormones are imbalanced for some reason, because we have a high toxic load, because we are exhausting our adrenal glands or exhausting our adrenal function, then we're going to have an imbalance of sleep, an imbalance of hormone relating to an imbalance of sleep. So it has to go back to all of these lifestyle factors and food, and what are we doing to balance out our everyday life so that we can balance out the sleep. Circadian rhythm is critical. If you are not sleeping, you are not going to be your best, and that's just the way that it goes. But knowing that it goes back to hormone balance is important. It's not just I didn't go to sleep because I didn't want to. It's I couldn't fall asleep, or I wake up at 2 a.m. and I can't get back to sleep. Your body is trying to tell you something, and the signals are not, your cortisol level is going off and your cortisol is saying, hey, I want you to do something, but then it's not shutting down so you can fall asleep. So it always goes back to hormones, and then it goes back to what do you need to do? What are the strategies you need to impart in your life to help to balance those out?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just so important. It's like such a challenging area for lots of people, I guess, to listen to our own body and really form into a healthy sleeping habit, right? Really follow the nature, like be mindful, really understand what works for our body, like having this fixed maybe sleeping windows instead of like just do it randomly here and there for different types. I think that keeps it very confusing as well.
And being willing to shut down, right? A lot of us are not willing to shut down. We extend our day, like we extend our work day because we have our to-do list is infinite, right? But so we extend the work day, and then we have a little itty bitty wind down time, but it's not enough to truly wind down. And I like to call it having a romantic evening with yourself. I think everyone should have a romantic evening with themselves.
I love that.
Turn down the lights, turn on some music, shut down the TV, shut down the phone, light a candle, have some lavender scented. What would you do to,
to relax?
Yes. Those are the things that we're missing. And we did that so well 50, 100 years ago.
Because there was no electricity, right? So it's we just, the natural lights in the nature, whatever it is.
Yeah, now we're scrolling on our cell phone next to our partner that we're not connecting with.
Yeah, we are actually exposed to daylight. Like lots of people use the light bulbs with the daylight in the bedroom, really, So it's like you're late. It's like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. You have the night lights, but it's actually daylight temperature. So your brain is saying, "Oh, okay, this is time for me to wake up or get up." It's not really time to relax. Like you said, maybe light some candles and really create that kind of atmosphere, so you can be relaxed and tell your body and your mind, like it's time for you to rewind, it's time for you to relax.
Right. And I wish that there was something sexier to say about it, that like here's this magic pill or whatever it is, but that doesn't work that way. And we all have to be willing to put in that work to say, so you want me to go to bed at 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night and get 8 hours of sleep? Yes. If you want to change your outcome, if you want to feel better and have results, you can't abuse your body anymore. And there's a reason why we're having problems sleeping. There's a reason why we're having problems detoxing. There's a reason why our gut doesn't feel good. But can we start to layer behavior on behavior on behavior in order to really get the true healing that we deserve to feel and look our best?
Yeah, absolutely. So what are those like top contributors that decrease our body's natural ability to heal itself? Because we know our body actually is a biocomputer. It has its capacity to heal itself. It knows how to detox, right, by itself, So what are the contributors that you can share with us if they can decrease this?
Yeah, I had a hard time with this one because there's so many contributors, but I have 5 that are some really common. So we'll go over the 5. And we already kind of hit sleep disruptions. So, if we're not nurturing our sleep, that's a huge contributor. We have human growth hormone actually is released as we're sleeping. And human growth hormone is a critical hormone because it is a rebuilder. It is a healer. It does so many beautiful things for our body. This is particularly important for people that are very active because human growth hormone is also a fat burner, by the way, which a lot of us love, right? So without the adequate sleep, we are decreasing human growth hormone, the ability to heal and the ability to repair. So that's huge. So sleep is a big one. We kind of already hit that one a lot. The next one is skipping meals or inconsistent eating patterns. And I don't know if I'm going to be everybody's favorite person when I say this, but intermittent fasting is not something that I typically will say is best for people unless it's a very light and easy intermittent fast. Like I like a 12 hours of, being able to eat or 12 hours off. I even like a 14 to 10. Totally good with that. When we start getting really intense with intermittent fasting, that can cause some hormone disruption. That can also cause an issue with being able to detox because you're not really allowing the body the nutrients that it needs around the clock to feel its best. So skipping meals is a big one. The other one I would say is meal composition. What does your meal actually look like, right? You really need a good representation of lean protein, some veggies, colorful fruits and veggies. Where's your complex carbohydrates? And of course, where's your healthy fats?
Yeah.
What does that look like? Because that meal composition is going to go back to a healthy balance in blood sugar, because your protein and your fat is going to sustain your blood sugar for long periods of time. If we're just eating a bowl of pasta, what's that going to do? That's going to elevate the blood sugar, and that's going to really hinder the body from detoxing properly. Last ones are inflammatory foods and substances / lifestyle behaviors. What's causing inflammation? And why is your body having to deal with the inflammation rather than dealing with the detoxification? Your body's going to pick one or the other. It can't do too many things at once. So it's going to deal with the inflammation. So if we can get the inflammation out of the body, then we can support that energy to dealing with the detoxification effectively. And then the last one is stress, of course.
So absolutely, all those five contributors, I think each of them is so, it's a huge, really, like talking about the stress, talk about like nutrition plates. You are talking about like really what kind of foods that we need to eat every day. It's not really about, people just if they want to lose weight, for example, they just started counting calories. So
Right.
I think it's more important that it's like to make sure that our body gets enough nutrients that it needs to support a healthy, body and mind, instead of just like counting the calories, like how much calories that we should consume every day, not really looking into the details of the nutrition plate. So I really loved what you shared, and all those areas are super, super important. The stress, so huge, sleep, and for fasting, there are so many theories out there. So I think it really works. Some maybe works better for some people, not working for other people. So when it comes to fasting, I do think it's a great idea because we give our body actually time to really, reactivate itself. Not because we constantly eating. Actually, we eat lots of toxic things. And our body starts getting stressed out because so much food, there's so much pressure for the body. So fasting, like sometimes I think it's really good. And also if we don't eat like super late, I think it's also less stress for our body, probably can help us to sleep as well. So yeah.
Fasting is really beneficial for a lot of people that have some gut dysfunctions too. And that's something to, because I think that it's really looking at the whole person and seeing what's going to make the most sense. And I think that with fasting, if we're really talking about, behavioral issues like binging at night and things like that, sometimes it's helpful to have that fasting in place for that. Sometimes it's helpful to give your body a break and your digestion a break. And other times fasting can be problematic depending on the person and their hormone status. And with our hormone status the way that it is, particularly with stress, fasting or skipping a meal, particularly breakfast, is going to be a really tough one for your hormones to be able to recover from. So it really depends on the person.
Well, I think when it comes to nutrition and health, it's really about the bio individual, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Different. Yeah. Thank you so much for all this information. What are some tips that you can share with us, for detoxing, and things that we can use easily, like some things that you can share with us?
Yeah, I think that I love cleanses. I love short-term cleanses. So I actually have, I build cleanses often for my clients and for my audience. So you can check them out and see if that makes sense for you. I have gut cleanses and liver cleanses, and it just kind of depends on what you need. So joining a cleanse is nice because it's short-term, but then being able to take some of those principles from the cleanse and really carrying them into your life, the things that work for you, I think is the best way to go. So a cleanse is nice because you can get in and get out. Easy, done, move on, right? It can be a week, it can be 2 weeks, it depends on what you're doing. Getting to sleep and really working towards your sleep is huge. So monitoring your circadian rhythm, having breakfast, protein at every meal to balance out the blood sugar, going organic as much as you can so that you can relieve the toxic load of the chemicals and the herbicides and things like that your body and your liver have to process, putting a lot of pressure on that. Drinking water.
Yeah.
That's easy. Drink some water. That helps you detoxify quickly. Fiber is huge. One of my favorite things that I like to prescribe to my clients is have 2 tablespoons of chia seeds every day and half of an avocado. If you can do that, you're getting more than enough fiber for your entire day for you to eliminate and poop every day. So those are huge. So fiber is a big one. Consider reducing inflammatory foods if we continue to have problems like gluten, sugar, dairy. Those can be really challenging for some people. Again, depending on the person, consider an IgG panel. And then, of course, create healthy boundaries for yourself that reduce the stressful, toxic load that is being created. And then have fun and learn how to enjoy your life. Do some hobbies. Really create that healing state that we were talking about and keep yourself out of the stressed state.
What do you think about like celery juice or like lemon water in the morning? Are those things you think that are helpful in terms of detoxing or cleansing?
Yeah, those can be really helpful. I love an apple cider vinegar, like a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and some water in the morning, 15 to 20 minutes before you eat. If you hate apple cider vinegar, go with lemon water. A little bit of that lemon zest is really great in the lemon water because you're getting just a little extra detoxification. Bitter greens are amazing for detoxification, particularly for your liver. Your liver loves the bitter greens. So if you're choosing things like that to put on your salad or add to your salad, celery, cucumber, bitter greens, make yourself a green juice or a smoothie or pick that up at the local cafe or something like that and have that on a regular basis. That's an easy add to a day. And that definitely helps with detoxification, particularly for your liver.
Yeah, absolutely. But when it comes to like apple cider vinegar or lemon waters, I just also want to emphasize here, it works for some people. It does not necessarily work for everybody. For people who have like acid reflux, I know that's different acid, but some people might find it's not easy to have an apple cider vinegar or lemon water like every day. So it might cause some problems. So better ask doctors to say if it's a good thing to do, not just because, okay, we recommend those. And again, all these ideas, tips needs to be customized towards specific person, the client, right? So we are all different. We are all bio individual. So that's for sure.
Right. Absolutely. I agree.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So if people want to follow you on social media, how they can find you?
I am at healthwithkelsey.com, I guess on Instagram, Health with Kelsey on Instagram. I am on Facebook as well as Kelsey Weaver, FNLP. You can find me there. I have a website, Health with Kelsey, KelseyWeaverHealth.com. And I have a lot more about cleansing on there that's really helpful. And depending on what type of cleanse people need, they can find that there too. So, yeah.
Thank you. That's perfect. So let's see if we have some questions here on our Facebook Live. See if we have some questions. Do we have some questions? That
I love questions.
okay. 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 Will I experience any adverse reactions while doing cleansing or detoxing?
Yeah, that's a great question and a great point. Some people can have adverse reactions to a cleanse or a detox, and that really depends on the severity of the cleanse, and it depends on how much of a toxic load we're really trying to rid the body of. So a big one is going to be someone that is dependent on caffeine or sugar or something like that during the day to help to elevate the body. So cleansing that can cause things like headaches and maybe even sleep disturbances. The thing is you really want to listen to your body. So doing some kind of cleanse is great, but knowing that it's the blood sugar balance that's going to be key. And knowing that, the detox symptoms that come with a cleanse or a detox, they're typically going to always be temporary. You just have to get over that hump of letting go of some of these foods that are causing the issue and the toxic load that's causing the issue so that you can get into that healing state. And sometimes that comes with side effects. Just be really aware of what feels right for you. And if it doesn't feel right, then start to incorporate some of the things that you were doing and maybe slowly wean off. A lot of times for people coming off of caffeine, for example, they stop drinking coffee, but they've been drinking loads of coffee all day. I would consider maybe just lightening the coffee load, go from 3 cups to 2 cups, and then the next day 2 cups to 1 cup, then go into green tea and things like that. So slowly wean yourself off might be a really good way to avoid some of the detox symptoms.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you are, you also cover like gut health. So we talked about detoxing, like lemon water, on apple cider vinegar. So for people who have like acid reflux problem, what kind of things that you think that they should not be doing in terms of food wise?
Acid reflux is tricky because it's counterintuitive. My answer might be counterintuitive to what someone else might say, maybe in conventional medicine, but a lot of times acid reflux is actually due to 2 different things. One, lack of stomach acid. Many of us don't have enough stomach acid to actually break down our foods, which might sound crazy because you feel like you have the acid coming up here, but anything is going to feel funky coming up the esophagus. So there may be a weakened epiglottis, which is that little flap at the bottom of the esophagus that kind of opens up and lets food in and out. So that may be part of it. That's usually caused by inflammation and stress. Stress is usually an acid reflux issue. So I would say stress, and I would say that a weakened epiglottis or possibly low stomach acid is really going to be the big things. One of the key things that I would say doing is not necessarily avoiding foods, it's unless we're talking about inflammatory foods. Inflammatory foods like gluten, fried foods, hydrogenated fats, and all the things that we know are probably not going to be super helpful. I would take those out of the diet and then play around with things. I work with a lot of people through an elimination diet to see if we can identify food sensitivities. But one of the big action items for this is eat slower.
Yeah,
so
that's so big. That is really big. Yeah, eating slow.
If everybody in the world ate slower, we would be a healthier world. That's just a fact. If we just took some time, it takes your brain 20 minutes to understand that you're eating. So if we can slow down long enough, take really small bites, chew our food, because the digestion here happening is going to be less digestion here happening. And you don't want it happening here if you have a lot of reflux. You want it happening here.
Yeah.
So taking the time, slowing down, smaller meals, bringing down the inflammatory foods. If you're not sure what they are, work with your practitioner to figure out what they are.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And also, yeah. So like we had a dinner lunch like a few hours ago, and then we will feel hungry like 2 or 3 hours ago. We thought that our body already digested all the food we ate, but actually not. For some foods, right, it takes a lot longer time for the body really to digest it.
Yeah.
So definitely like eating slow, like you said, the smaller size, and really like chew it really well, and not eating big portions, and not eating like inflammatory foods, for example. These are all so huge and very important.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
really, I think that being present with your meal is huge. So smelling your food.
Yeah, the whole process, like part of cooking is also like eating, right? Like
Yeah.
cooking is part of digesting as well. Yeah.
It's crazy. And I don't think that a lot of us think about that, but digestion actually starts with the thought of food.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you.
If we all sit here right now and we think of an amazing chocolate cake that's super delicious and maybe it's super sweet, we start to salivate, right? And that saliva is building up the enzymes that we need to break down food. So if you're
Yeah.
sitting in front of your computer because you're in a meeting and you're not thinking about your food, but you're hungry and you're shoveling it in your mouth, we're
Yeah.
definitely going to have a hard time with acid reflux because we didn't get that manual digestion or the enzymatic digestion or chemical digestion happening here first before it came here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So let's answer the last questions. Like, how do I know if detoxing is working? Like if you are working on some things for detoxing, how do you really know if it's working or not?
That's such a good question. And I don't want to make it super simple, but I'm going to make it simple for you. You should feel better when you're done. You should feel better when you're done. I think that the big things are going into a cleanse or a detox. What are you really looking for? So the liver cleanse that I have is one of the more popular cleanses because we have such issues with liver detoxification. But a lot of times you need a liver cleanse because you have certain symptoms. So can you identify what symptoms you're trying to alleviate? And did that alleviate some of your symptoms by the time that you were done with your cleanse? And hopefully the answer is yes. If it's not, there may be some deeper rooted issues that need to be uprooted. A cleanse is not the end all be all. That is stage one to really promoting some help and healing in the body. So like I said, start there, figure out what makes sense for you, transfer some of those habits to what makes sense for you ongoing, and see if the symptoms start to slow down. The key to any type of healing, and again, it's not a sexy answer, is consistency. Be consistent and be patient. And as you are there, these symptoms are going to start to go away, and suddenly you're going to feel great and you're going to forget where the symptoms dropped off. And that's when you know it's successful.
Yeah, I love what you said. Be patient and be consistent, because I think cleansing is also just a part of creating a healthy lifestyle, healthy eating habit, right? So don't just separate it as a goal. Like I just want detoxing for what? It's actually part of being healthier, right? So it's a long, it's for long run.
I agree. I absolutely agree with you.